Oh yeah, what's going on everybody? It's your bro, hope you're doing well, and in this video we're going to create a game of Tic Tac Toe, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. If you find this video helpful, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Your support will help keep this channel running. Alright, let's begin. So the first thing that you're going to need is to include these files at the top of your C program, and we will create 7 different function prototypes. So the return type of this first function is void, and the name of this function will be reset board. Our board is going to be a 2D character array. And our second function is void print board, which will print our 2D character array. Then with this next function, this has a return type of int, and this will check free spaces. If after invoking this function returns 0, that means the game is over. There's no more places to move. And we will need void player move when it's the player's turn to move. Void computer move when it's the computer's turn to move. Char check winner. So we have a few different win conditions to check. And void print winner. And there is one parameter, a single character, so char. So these are function prototypes. We tend to declare these before the main function because they help with readability. After the main function, we will give each of these a body. So copy and paste those functions, and then give each a body. And with the parameter for print winner, the parameter is char winner. Now let's head back to the top of our program, and there's a few global variables that we're going to declare. We could declare these as local variables within the main function, but this program is going to get really complicated then if we have to pass around pointers to a 2-dimensional array. So just to keep this simple, I'm going to create some global variables. There are some downsides to global variables, so I tend to not to like to use these. So we have a 2D array of characters named board. It's our game board. And let's create 2 constants. Constant char player. A naming convention for constants is to make all of the letters uppercase. And I will set this to a character of my choice. I could be O, or I could be X, or something else. Maybe I could be a $sign, whatever. I'll set myself to be an X. And then let's create a constant for the computer. Constant char computer. And computers will be O. So within the main function, we will declare a local variable, char winner. And I'll go ahead and set this to an empty space. So if our winner is an empty space, that means there currently is no winner. If player wins, then that would be an X. If computer wins, that's an O. Within our main function, this is acting as a driver for our code. So the first thing we'll do is reset our board. So we are going to initialize all of the different characters within our 2-dimensional board. So let's head to this function. So with our reset board function, we need nested loops. The outer for loop is for the rows. The inner for loop will be for the columns. Int I, set this equal to 0, and I need to iterate this for loop 3 times, 1 for each row that we have. And then we need an inner for loop. So change the index to j, and for each index within our 2D array, at index of I and j, I will set this equal to an empty space. So when we call the reset board function, each element within this 2D array of characters will be an empty space, effectively clearing it. So back within the main function, after resetting our board, let's print our board. And fill in this function. So you can get creative with this. Here's one thing that I'll use. So I'm going to print a space, a character, a space, a vertical bar, space, character, space, vertical bar, space, character. These 3 format specifiers are placeholders. The first character I'm going to display is our board at index of 0, 0. That is row 0, column 0, followed by board index 0, 1, then board 0, 2. And with the next printf statement, let's display something like this. A new line, 3 dashes, a vertical bar, 3 dashes, another vertical bar, 3 dashes, then a new line. Okay, so let's copy these, paste it once, and we need to change these indices. So with this third printf statement, these indices will be 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 2. And then do this again. So copy, paste, 2, 0, 2, 1, 2, 2. Then at the end, I'll add a new line. Printf, new line. Oh, let me fix one thing. Okay, so this is what it should be. All right, now back within our main function, we're going to create a while loop, and we'll surround our print board function within this while loop. So our condition is if winner is equal to an empty space, that means there currently is no winner, and after invoking the check free spaces function, the value returned does not equal 0. So let's fill in this check free spaces function. Within the check free spaces function, let's declare a local variable, int free spaces, and I'll initially set this to 9. Then we need nested for loops. Int I equals 0. We will continue this as long as I is less than 3, I plus plus. Then create an inner for loop. Change the index from I to j. And within the inner for loop, we're going to write an if statement. And we are checking to see if our 2D array of characters board at index of I and j does not equal an empty space. If whatever spot we're on is currently occupied, we will take our free spaces local variable and decrement it by 1. Then outside of our for loops, we will return free spaces. If we return 0, that means the game is over. There's no more places a player can move. So heading back to our main function, it will be, let's say, the player's turn to move first. So invoke the player move function, and we'll need to fill this in. With the player move function, we will declare 2 local variables, int x, int y. And we will ask a user to enter in a row number and a column number of where they would like to move to. So using a printf statement, we will enter row number 1 through 3. And then use the scanf function to accept some user input. So this will be an integer, and use the address of operator x. So a user is going to enter in numbers 1 through 3 for which row that they need. But with arrays, they always begin with 0. But a user is not going to know that. So with whatever the user types in, we will decrement x by 1. So this gives us rows 0 through 2 technically. Then do the same thing with our columns. Enter column number 1 through 3. Address of operator y, then decrement y. We will check to see if the coordinates that the user gave are occupied or not. So using an if statement, we will check to see if our board at index of x and y does not equal an empty space. That means that this spot is currently occupied by another character. So let's print something to let a user know. Invalid move. Else that spot is open. So take our board at index of x and y, set this equal to our player character. So we're going to take all of this code and place it within a do while loop. So write do while, place your code that you just wrote within there. And our condition is if our board at index of x and y does not equal an empty space. If the spot that the player would like to place their character is currently occupied, then we will ask them again to enter some coordinates. Then within our else statement, we need to break out of this while loop. Okay, so that is everything for the player move function. So then heading back to the main function, after the player moves, we will check to see if there's a winner. Winner equals, then invoke the check winner function. and we will fill in this function next. So find the check winner function, and we need to check all of the different win conditions. So first, we will check each row using a for loop. So this section of code, we will check our rows. We'll need a for loop to iterate 3 times, one for each row. Int I equals 0. Continue this as long as I is less than 3. Increment I by 1. So this if statement is going to get a little bit funky. We need to check each set of horizontal elements. So let's begin with board at index of I and 0. So that would be the top left element. And we are checking to see if the character here is equal to this character. So board at index I and 1. And we're checking to see if board at index of I and 0 is equal to board at index of I and 2. So here we're checking to see if this element is equal to this element and this element is equal to this element. If they're all consistent, we have a winner. So we will return whatever character is within one of these elements. Let's say this one. So return board at index of I, index of 0. Return whatever character is within here. This section of code will check all of the win conditions for each row, but now we need columns. So check columns, and we can copy most of this. So copy it and paste it. Then we just need to change these indices around. So if board at index 0, I is equal to board at index of 1, I, and board at index of 0, I is equal to board at index of 2, I. Then we will return whatever character is within board index of 0, index of 1. So this section of code will check for any column win conditions. Then next we have diagonals. There's only 2. Check diagonals. So let's copy this section of code, paste it. So our indices are 0, 0 is equal to 1, 1. 1, 1 is in the middle. And board at index of 0, 0 is equal to board at index of 2, 2. If so, then return 0, 0. Then we have one more diagonal. So copy this, paste it, and here are the elements. If board at 0, 2 is equal to board at 1, 1. So 0, 2 is the bottom left, 1, 1 is the middle, and board at 0, 0 equals board at 2, 0. That is the top right corner right here. So if we have a diagonal, we have a winner. So return board at 0, 2, let's say. If after checking all of these different win conditions, there is no winner, then let's return an empty character. That means there currently is no winner. So then head back to the main function. After invoking the check winner function, let's write an if statement to see if the game is over. So our condition is if winner does not equal an empty space, that means there is a winner, or after invoking the check free spaces function and the value returned is 0, then we will break out of this while loop. This is everything done for the player. Now we need to create a section of code within our while loop for the computer. So copy this section of code and paste it, and this time it will be the computer's move. Invoke the computer move function, and we will need to fill in the computer move function. Within the computer move function, the computer's move will be randomly generated, and to generate some random numbers, we'll need a seed. So to create a seed to generate random numbers, invoke the srand function, pass in time, invoke it, pass in 0, and we will declare int x and int y. We will generate 2 random numbers between 0 and 2. Now, before we generate some random numbers, let's check to see if we even have any free spaces available. So our if statement is going to be check free spaces, invoke it, then if this is greater than 0, then we will generate some random numbers. And we'll do so within a do while loop. So within this do while loop, we will generate 2 random numbers between 0 and 2. x equals, invoke the rand function, modulus 3. Then y equals, invoke the rand function, modulus 3. With our condition, let's check to see if the spot generated is even open. So board at index of x and y does not equal an empty space. So we will keep on generating random numbers until there is an open space. Then escape this while loop. So if we find an open space, let's take our board at index of x and y, set this equal to our computer player. This is all within an if statement. Else, if there are no more spaces available, we will invoke the print winner function and pass in an empty space. This means that there is no winner, it's a draw. Now let's fill in this print winner function. This function is fairly easy. If winner is equal to player, then we will print you win. Else if winner is equal to computer, then we will print you lose. Else, if there is no winner, then it's a tie, it's a draw. It's a tie. Within the main function, we just have a few more things to add. So outside of our while loop, we will print our board and print the winner. Print board and print winner. There is one argument, whoever the winner is. So let's run this once. Enter row numbers 1 through 3. Let's say 1 and 1. So I moved here and the computer moved to row 3, column 2. Let's say row 3, column 3. Okay, so I moved here and the computer's up here. So I moved to row 3, column 3, and our computer is at row 1, column 3. Then I'll move to the middle. 2, 2. And it looks like I won this round. So let's try this again, and we will intentionally lose. So 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2. And unfortunately, it looks like I lost. This time, let's attempt to tie. And it looks like it's a tie. So it looks like this game is working. So what if we would like to ask the user if they would like to play again? We can easily place our code within a do while loop. So within our main function, let's create char response. And we will create a do while loop. So take all of this code after the do while loop, beginning with reset board, copy it, delete it, and then paste it within the do while loop. At the top of our do while loop, let's reset winner and response. Winner equals an empty space, and response equals an empty space. Then heading to the bottom of our do while loop, let's ask if the user would like to play again. So after displaying the winner, let's create a prompt. Printf, would you like to play again? Y for yes and for no. And I'm just going to clear our buffer by using scanf and accepting a character, just in case there is a new line character within our buffer. Then we will use the scanf function and accept a character after clearing our buffer. And we will use the address of operator response. Now, just in case somebody types in lowercase y, I would still like to count that as yes. So I'm going to take our response, set this equal to, invoke the toUpper function, pass in response. And with this condition, we will continue playing while our response is equal to the character y. And at the end, let's print thanks for playing. Okay, let's run this one last time. All right, I win. Would you like to play again? I'll type in Y for yes, and we have a new game. All right, it looks like I win, so this time I will exit by typing N. Thanks for playing. So yeah, everybody, that is a game of Tic Tac Toe. If you would like a copy of this code, I'll post this to the comment section down below. Hey, if you found this video helpful, you can help me out by smashing that like button, leave a random comment down below, and subscribe if you'd like to become a fellow bro.